Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mental Health Matters with your host, Dr. Matt Glowiak. Music, we all know what it is. Most of us love it, and it's one of those things that has become an integral part of our lives. Now, why do we enjoy music so much? Well, there's numerous different reasons why we enjoy it. It's the type of thing that helps us get awake in the morning with our alarm clock. It's the type of thing that we sing to in the shower. It's the type of thing that we like to listen to as we're driving our car and going on to our long days at work. It's the type of thing that we listen to during our workouts. Type of thing that we allow ourselves to decompress to at the end of the day, and so many different reasons why we listen to music. So today we have a very special episode. As part of our two-part episode on music, we have special guest, mental health advocate and local musician, Bryan Kuhn here. And today we're going to talk about his story with mental health and music. So Bryan, it's a pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much for making it on. So, was wanting to hear a little bit more about your story. So it was really great. We met here recently and we had a talk about your story and how music was something that really helped shape and change your life.
Yeah. I've battled depression and anxiety, insomnia, all those things. And really the only time that I'm healthy is when I'm doing music and writing about the dark times that I have and trying to channel it into a positive. So for me, it's like therapy for me.
Okay. And thank you so much for your willingness to participate on the show and share your story with everybody else.
Yeah, well, that's one thing is I want to, the name of this project that I'm starting is called Take a Lid Off. I want to start talking about this stuff, you know, feeling comfortable to talk about it wherever. Mm-hmm. And I'm an open book at this point. I'm going to tell my story and, you know, I don't fear judgment anymore, and I don't judge others, so.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the symbolism behind the topic of, or the title of your work that's Take a Lid Off, because I think of taking a lid off and it's really allowing things to decompress.
Yeah,
so
letting
think
things
of that.
out.
Exactly, like that kettle that just continues to steam and at one point it's got to let everything out.
Right.
And here, by letting out all the emotions and everything you felt and experienced, you know, it's just another step closer to being able to destigmatize everything that we've got going on in mental health.
Right. And that's my main goal. Number one, I have to do it for myself, and I didn't start sharing my music with people till about 5 years ago, and now it's like it's just a need that I have to fulfill, and I want it to open conversation, and I want to make it okay. I've talked, when I tell people about the idea, I've had them open up to me about their battles, and that's exactly what I want.
Absolutely. And that's one of the other great things I know that you're working toward as well, is having other musicians be able to share their experience with mental health.
Exactly. I want to start up a documentary project. It's kind of a nebulous thing right now, but where we feature musicians, artists, comedians, whatever, and how something creative helps you to go on in times where it's tough, you know? And yeah, I don't know where I'd be without music.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd rather not say where I'd be. You know?
Absolutely. Well, we're certainly pleased to have you here sharing your story with everybody. And I can definitely say that there are millions of other people out there who have similar stories and experiences where music has touched their soul and become an integral part of their life. So like we said here in this two-part episode that we're doing, this one we're going to focus on your story. And then the next one we'll talk about some of the mental wellness benefits of music in general. So with that, I'm curious, you know, where would you like to begin in sharing your story?
I'm going to go back to about 2013.
Okay.
I was working for Walgreens in Deerfield, the corporate office, and yeah, I've been on medication for my mental illness for about 15 years. And sorry.
It's okay.
And so I was prescribed many medications, and one of those medications was Xanax. Okay. And I was popping them, for lack of a better term, 10 at a time, like 2 milligrams, I think, or something. Like just many times where I was very close to death. And things got out of control. I lost that job. So then, you know, I went into treatment for the first time, talking to a counselor, one-on-one. And she has been a rock for me since then, as somebody that can be blunt with me and tell me what I need to hear, but also supportive of what I'm doing. And so I got back on my feet, You know, things were looking back up. I got a job with CDW. It was a really good job as well. And I had anxiety. I couldn't handle the job. And once again, I had a breakdown and had to leave. And so at that point, you would think, maybe try something different, right? I didn't. Process repeated about 2016. I took a job at HFMA, Healthcare Financial Management Association. And all these companies I worked for were great, you know. But I was trying to fit a square peg into a round hole for too long. And a year ago, I left the 9 to 5. It was really hard. And I know people close to me weren't always happy with my decisions. And, you know, but now I'm taking control. And, you know, I haven't used Xanax in 6 years, 5 or 6 years. I'm going to jump back a little bit. So when I was working at Walgreens, I went to go visit some friends in Boston who were really great support for me. And I found out I lost my job that day when I was hanging out with my friend. And music helped me get through that, along with my friends, because this guy, Jason Isbell, who is a great artist, has a song called Relatively Easy. And we saw him on that trip, and I was crying, and it was because the lyrics really touched, you know, what I was going through. One of the lyrics is, take a year, there's not that much to break, or something like that. But it was a line that hit me, and it helped me get through that. It was a really tough time, and also I was withdrawing on Xanax at the time, which is, you know, is a very,
very challenging,
very difficult experience. But you know, so that I was lucky to get through that alive. And you know, I won't get into my thoughts on prescription drugs. But for me, it's been tough, and I have to stay away from them. And but when I was sitting at that concert and he was singing words that really hit me, that's what I want to do for other people with my music. I'm completely honest in the lyrics, and I talk about, you know, the struggles I've had. And I'm not special. Everybody has a story, you know? And part of what I need to do is tell my story, which I'm, you know, doing right now, which is kind of surreal.
Absolutely. You're already doing the advocacy work right now.
And yeah, so when I left the 9 to 5 a year ago, I tried to go back into treatment for anxiety this time. And I went for a day. I didn't want to force it. And since then, I've thrown my life into music. And I can't look back. That's one of the things I've learned, is you have to enjoy the moment you're in. And I was escaping the moments that I was in. I didn't want to be present. And so, you know, there was a lot of soul searching, having to figure out why that was, and a lot of it was the drugs I was taking. And I'll tell you one more story about benzos. So you know that Xanax is a benzo, obviously, being a doctor.
Benzodiazepines.
Yeah, and then Klonopin.
And just so you know, benzodiazepines are a classification of a psychotropic medication that's generally utilized to help individuals reduce anxiety. Klonopin is more of a lower grade one with a longer half-life and keep people pretty calm, whereas Xanax is much more powerful and can help with anxiety attacks. Ativan, more of something during a panic attack, hospitalization, and so on.
Yeah, so I tried both of those, and I'm fortunate, I know, that I was able to get off of them, and I was able to survive, 5 years of my life where I was just self-destructive, and, I couldn't get things together. And like I said, I kept trying to fit that square peg, round hole. I got to get another good job where I'm going to be at a desk, and it didn't work anymore. or it never worked really. For spurts, it would work. But so now, I just want to talk about mental health in a positive way. I don't want to dwell on my depression. I don't want to dwell on the anxiety.
Absolutely.
I just want to bring it out and say, hey, it's all right.
It is. No, and it certainly is okay, and that's one of the issues that individuals go through is they feel alone.
Right.
You know, I'm the only person who's dealing with these demons in my own head.
Yeah, the isolation.
Exactly. And nobody else gets it. Nobody else understands. So it becomes difficult to speak about because we think it's taboo. Other people are going to look down on us. But, you know, as we actually sit here and we talk about it, and we talked about the group counseling process and how cathartic it is, and realizing that I'm not alone. And in this type of experience, though, your story is unique to yourself, and all of us have different lived experiences. You know, it's quite similar to some of the ones that other people are going through as well. You know, and one of the things that's really great here is you stated earlier, you know, I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor of everything that I've been through.
I'm living in recovery for the rest of my life. Yeah.
And that's one of the things here too is, you know, although living in recovery for the rest of your life, you know, it's something, it's a part of you, but it's also a part, and I know it might sound kind of awkward saying this, but also something that can be celebrated in that, you know, I overcame this very difficult challenge I have in my life.
Right.
And here I am now advocating for mental health and doing music, which is something that I love, because it sounds like, you know, your path toward becoming a musician, at least to the extent that you are now, was greatly due in part to the experiences that you've had with mental health diagnoses and such.
Pretty much everything I write is revolving around mental health and mental illness. And yeah, so in the past year, I have a band as well that I formed last year called Gray Shore Avenue.
Awesome.
And there was 3 of us, now it's 2 of us. I won't get into that.
Okay, another story for another day,
Yeah,
right?
a story for another day. But so my drummer, Antonio, he's become one of my best friends over the past year. You know, and I'm 36, he's like 24, so there's the age gap, but he's, you know, he's supportive, and that's one of the biggest things that I learned is you have to have a support network, and you have to go to the right people. You can't try to force people to get the reaction you want.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, so someone told me it's like you keep going back to the well that has nothing in it. Like you're wasting your time, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and a lot of dealing with addiction and dealing with mental illness is about acceptance. Accepting that people close to you will try. There's no one in my life that I don't feel comfortable going to, but I know that there's certain people I can go to and they're going to help me, you know, through that tough time.
Absolutely, and that's one of the difficult things about this topic as well, and you know, essentially captures the essence of this show and why we're doing Mental Health Matters and why, you know, individuals like yourself are on here, because we need to educate, you know, the general public, because most people, you know, have gone through life never having had a psychology class and learning the different theories, don't necessarily know how to discuss mental health and what it looks like or even what to look for. Because again, you know, we sit there and see somebody who's dealing with some type of particular condition and might just think, well, you know, he's a bad person, she's a worrier, she cries a lot. And we don't think about everything that goes into it. And it can be hard, you know, see people all the time, you know, who are very well intended and trying to offer assistance and help to people who are struggling with something. However, you know, they struggle to find the appropriate words. They struggle to find exactly how much involved they should get in it or find the right resources. And it could be something that's frustrating. You know, you appreciate the help of somebody reaching out and being there for you, but it's not exactly what you're looking for.
Right. One thing I'll say, if someone's having an anxiety attack, do not tell them to calm down.
Don't you realize that's what you need to do, right?
That's always a bad, for me, that's like a trigger to take me from, you know, high anxiety level to even a higher.
Oh, exactly. Well, it's the same thing with substance use disorders and that. Just say no to
gotta
drugs.
Stop. Yeah.
It's not as easy as just saying no, because there are so many different factors that are involved.
Exactly. And it's, you know, if someone breaks their leg, you're not telling them, get up, go run a marathon.
Absolutely.
You know, and the brain is the same thing. You know, sometimes it's situational, sometimes it's chemical, sometimes it's both. When it's both, it's really bad.
Absolutely. Well, and that's especially what we need to be mindful of, having some type of comprehensive type of treatment effort. And, as we had discussed before, there certainly are, so many different types of mental health diagnoses that do require medication to some extent.
Right.
And also with those, it's been shown that, having talk therapy as well as an adjunct to that can really help boost, efficacy of results that we see here and everything. There's something that continues sitting with me that you stated, probably about 5 minutes or so ago, and goes back to that whole topic of being, a survivor. And I truly appreciate those words of being a survivor. And one of the things I talk to my clients about here is, what it is to be a survivor, and that's, having lived some type of traumatic experience throughout life, having to go through something particularly difficult. And here you are, in a better place right now. Maybe you're still continuing to receive treatment, maybe you're not continuing to receive treatment, something that you've learned from, something that you've grown, something that helps make you stronger, but also getting to that point now where you can advocate and speak, on behalf of the experience you've had, and help inspire other people to be able to get to a better place as well.
That's what I want to do. And especially with, like high school students, I would never go back and do high school again.
High school is a difficult time. Middle school, high school, very difficult.
Which is funny. We went to middle school together, so yeah. Random things happen,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just like this whole story, we went to middle school together, Hubert H. Humphrey, go Warrior. And here we are now at age 36, hadn't seen each other since about the 8th grade or so, went to different high schools and so on. We're able to find each other through, mental health advocacy.
There's a common ground there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's about connecting with other people. Because like the biggest sign for me is isolation.
Absolutely.
So, it's a daily thing.
Well, and that's the other part with going through a recovery effort. Every day it's an active recovery. It's not something that we keep in the back of our mind. It's not something that we forget about. Now, it doesn't have to be the thing that, your whole life, all it is recovery, and I am my diagnosis. That's not what we're going for here.
No,
but
not at all.
Every single day, taking it a day at a time, realizing that, okay, today I'm going to give all my effort. Maybe a good day, maybe a bad day, but either way, I'm going to keep on trying.
I try to learn something about my mental health every day that and just keep moving forward. I've been, on a side note for the music aspect, I've been taking vocal lessons for about 6 months.
Nice.
And before that, I had no training of any kind. I screamed. It was in your face. It was out of pitch and everything. And now I'm getting to where I want to be, because I can compartmentalize. I can take the mental illness and turn it into something, that is useful.
You can take a lid off it.
Take a lid off.
Oh, that's great. And I was thinking too, if you wouldn't mind sharing. So back in 2013, you were saying a lot of, you were starting to notice some issues with the mental health that were starting to become problematic in your life. I'm curious, at that point in 2013 and what you knew about mental health versus what you know now about mental health and the way you see it, how did you see yourself then versus now? I
had no idea what I was dealing with. I didn't learn I had depression until just after college in 2006. I had, struggled with depression. I don't know how I graduated college, because there were times where I'd be in bed for 3 days, even longer sometimes. And somehow I made it through that. And then when I got out of college, I was going through a tough time. I was working at Home Depot, which is not bad, but was not, again, another thing that was another job that I was not good at. And I was, it just felt like I wasn't meant to be doing that. And I had a rough time there. And I went to a psychiatrist, and that's when I was like, oh, depression, that's what this is? Okay. And insomnia it's much better now, but I have a song called 42 Straight about being up for 42 straight hours, and you lose your mind. And plus I was, on the benzos. And so getting through that time, it's hazy, but I had to go through it to find the clarity that I'm getting now.
Absolutely. Well, the reality is, and I love this, at our, one of the first counseling offices I was at, there was a big, poster on the wall, and it was framed, and it read, "You can only heal what you feel."
Yeah.
And I explain this to people all the time, is that you can't heal something that you don't understand. If you don't know it's there, How can you treat it or try to work through it? I can't come up with a treatment plan if I have no idea what it is that's going on.
Right.
But again, I like how you refer back to compartmentalizing and things like that. We don't compartmentalize a mental health diagnosis into something that we just tuck away and we don't ever revisit. But we also have to keep in mind that that's not who we are.
Right.
We don't define ourselves by the mental illness. It's something that's a part of you, but it's not you.
Right, and that's, I didn't have that outlook on life before. Depression was controlling my life. And I had to take the control back myself. But you don't cure it. It's just, you have to manage it. And that's a tough thing, because a lot of people, they just want to fix. They want the quick fix. Or the easy shortcuts. Like, I've been trying to get myself out there musically for about 3 years now. And just now really, I feel like hitting a stride with it. But I had to go through all of that. I had to build relationships, which I'm continuing to do. And, by doing that, it's changed my outlook.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of music and hitting your stride, I know that you wanted to share a song with everybody here. So if you wouldn't mind, what song are you going to perform for us here today?
This song is called Heartscapes. And it's basically depression, mental illness. It takes your heart out.
Okay. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Roads I've been wandering, a life between the seams. My back against the wall, with odds so extreme that no one would take my bet. And it hasn't sunk in yet that I've been derailed, my road map disabled. I can't see you, I can't see anyone, 'cause it takes your heart out, it takes your heart apart, it takes your heart out. Oh, it takes your heart. The semblance of my remembrance, the choices I have made, decisions made with derision that betray my hopeful vision. But I'll right these wrongs, 'cause it's been far too long since I felt the gentle sway of a breeze on a sunny day. It takes your heart out, it takes your heart apart, it takes your heart out. Oh, it takes your heart. Sometimes I just don't know, sometimes I just don't know, sometimes so take a lid off of my head and take the illness so full of dread, and take these goddamn pills, take them from my hands, and take a veil and all its doubt, 'cause it takes your heart out, it takes your heart apart. It takes your heart out. Oh, it takes your heart. Whoa. Whoa.
Great job. What a beautiful song.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank
Really
you for
appreciate
sharing.
it.
Thank you for performing for everybody. You know, talk about that element of being, you know, in the present moment. You know, that's something that's so important. We continue to talk about on the show. You know, mindfulness is a very big topic, and what we
Right.
talk about. And I could see how much emotion that you put into this performance right now. And
That was you say a cathartic experience. That was I hope people like it, but for
I
me,
can feel your energy.
yeah, it felt really good actually.
Can you describe in words how you feel right now, having performed that for everybody?
I feel like a weight's lifted. Because you know, I'm not worried about what other people think. I've got to exist in here. And so it's the way that I look at it and living in the moment. Yeah, I kind of just let it go there. Really did.
Absolutely, and that's the most important part is, you know, feeling good about it for your very own self. And that's one of the things that we know about music. It's quite discretionary.
Right.
You know, people like different genres of music, different types of artists, different instruments, and so on and so forth. And, you know, it's one of those things, it's impossible to please everybody.
Yeah,
However, the most important thing is you can please yourself.
Right. If I feel good about it, and you know, that's all I can do. You know, I can't. Again, you can't force people to do. You know, I don't know. Yeah, I feel really good right now. So.
Oh, I think that's fantastic. And, you know, one of the things that we're going to focus on as we move into our next episode, which Mr. Bryan Kuhn will be here available for as well, you know, is what it feels like to actually go through and write the lyrics. You know, so writing the lyrics, writing the music, you know, two different experiences, coming here and performing it. What does that feel like every single time? That's one of the wonderful things about music, you know, whether we're listening to it, whether we're writing it, whether we're singing it, whether we're playing the instrument, whether we're thinking about it. There are so many different ways that music can touch us in terms of mental health and so on that, you know, it's a really great tool, and I look forward to speaking about it some more here with Mr. Bryan Kuhn in the next episode. If you would like some more information about Bryan and his music, please feel free to visit his website, which we're sharing right here with you now. And also, as always, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me at drm.glowiak@gmail.com, and also visit us at our Mental Health Matters Facebook page. And we always appreciate the likes, we appreciate the comments, we appreciate those shares as well. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you for watching.